Captain Jake Morrison stared at the view screen as his ship approached the Kepler 442 system. The stars looked peaceful from here, but Jake knew that space could be dangerous. His crew had been traveling for 3 months to reach this distant solar system. Earth needed new planets for colonies, and this system showed promise. Lisa Chen worked at the navigation station. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls as she checked their course. Tony Rodriguez stood near the weapons station, even though they were on a peaceful mission. Dr. Amy Parker studied the data about the planet they were going to explore. She hoped to find new forms of life. The UES Aurora was one of Earth's newest exploration ships. It carried the best equipment that humanity could build. Jake felt proud to command such a vessel. They were making history by traveling so far from home. Each new system they explored brought humanity closer to becoming a true space civilization. As they moved deeper into the system, Jake noticed something strange on the sensors. Large metal objects orbited the third planet. They were too big to be natural and too organized to be space debris. Lisa confirmed what Jake suspected. These were artificial structures built by an intelligent species. Jake ordered the crew to be careful. First contact with aliens was always dangerous. They had protocols to follow and rules about how to approach unknown civilizations. But something felt wrong about these structures. They looked more like military installations than peaceful cities. Dr. Parker studied the readings from her sensors. The structures were massive and appeared to be very old. She could detect energy, signatures that suggested advanced technology. But there were no communication signals coming from the planet or the orbital stations. Everything was silent. Suddenly, the ship's alarms began to sound. Tony called out that multiple contacts were approaching fast. On the view screen, Jake saw sleek black ships emerging from behind the planet's moons. These vessels moved with deadly grace and purpose. Their design was unlike anything in Earth's databases. The alien ships surrounded the Aurora before Jake could order a retreat. They were clearly more advanced than human technology. Their hulls seemed to absorb light, making them hard to track. Energy readings showed weapon systems that could easily destroy the Aurora. A communication signal came through the ship's speakers. The voice that spoke was cold and mechanical. It translated into English through the ship's computer systems. The alien speaker called itself a hunt master. It said that humans were now considered prey species. The Aurora and its crew would be taken to the hunting grounds. Jake ordered Lisa to plot an escape course, while Tony charged the ship's weapons. But they were outnumbered 20-1. The alien ships began to move closer. Dr. Parker detected scanning beams examining every part of their ship. The aliens were studying human technology and biology. Through the view screen, Jake saw something that made his blood run cold. Massive, transparent domes dotted the planet's surface. Inside those domes, he could see different environments from various worlds. In some domes, creatures ran and hid while dark shapes hunted them. These were hunting preserves filled with living beings from across the galaxy. The aliens called themselves the Kythera. For thousands of years, they had captured sentient species and used them as prey in elaborate hunts. They traveled the galaxy looking for new challenges. Humans had caught their attention because of their rapid expansion into space. Fresh prey always excited the hunters. Jake realized they had stumbled into a nightmare. The Kythera had been taking humans from the outer colonies for months. All those missing ships and lost settlements now made terrible sense. Families had been torn apart to feed an alien blood sport. The Aurora's engines strained as Lisa pushed them to maximum power. One of the smaller Kythera ships moved to block their escape, but Tony managed to damage it with a lucky shot. The explosion gave them the distraction they needed. Jake ordered the ship to jump to faster-than-light speed as the Aurora fled the system. Jake saw more of the hunting preserves. Hundreds of domes covered the planet's surface. Each one contained a different environment and different prey species. Some looked like Earth forests, while others resembled alien worlds. The scope of the Kythera operation was enormous. The ship's computer recorded everything they had seen. Dr. Parker gathered all the sensor data while Lisa plotted the fastest course, back to Earth. Tony kept watch for pursuing ships, but the Cathara seemed content to let them go. Perhaps they wanted the Aurora to spread fear among humans. During the long journey home, Jake studied the recordings. The Cathara technology was far superior to anything Earth possessed. Their ships were faster and their weapons more powerful. But Jake noticed something interesting. The aliens seemed overconfident. They had let the Aurora escape easily as if humans posed no real threat. Dr. Parker made disturbing discoveries in the sensor data. The hunting preserves contained thousands of intelligent beings from dozens of different species. Most appeared to be recent captures. The Cathara were expanding their operations, and humans had become their newest target when the Aurora finally reached Earth. Jake immediately contacted Admiral Helen Brooks. She listened to his report with growing horror. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. The Cathara did not want Earth's resources or territory. They wanted humans as living prey. Admiral Brooks called an emergency meeting of the Earth Defense Council. The recordings from the Aurora shocked everyone who saw them. Humanity had always feared hostile aliens but never imagined anything like this. The Cathara represented a threat to human survival itself. Within hours of Jake's report, Admiral Brooks authorized a classified project. She called it Project Retribution. If aliens wanted to hunt humans, then humans would become the deadliest hunters in the galaxy. Earth's military would transform from a defensive force into something far more dangerous. The age of human prey was ending, and the age of human predators was about to begin. Colonel Marcus Webb checked his equipment one final time as the UES Wolverine approached Cathara space. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison brought news of the alien hunters. In that time, the Cathara had grown bolder. 12 human colonies had been raided. Thousands of people had vanished into the hunting preserves. The Wolverine was Earth's first stealth frigate. Its hull absorbed sensor beams and its engines ran silent. Maya Johnson worked at the sniper station cleaning her rifle. Carlos Silva prepared explosive charges while Ryan Foster studied intelligence reports. They were Earth's first hunter-killer team. Webb had volunteered for this mission, knowing it was probably suicide. But humans could not sit back while their people were taken as prey. Earth's military had studied every piece of data from the Aurora. They knew the Cathara were powerful, but Webb believed they had weaknesses. The target was Hunting World Tertius. Intelligence suggested it held over 400 human prisoners. The Cathara were planning a grand hunt to celebrate their newest prey species. Webb's mission was simple: get and rescue the humans and show the aliens that their prey could fight back. Maya spotted the first Cathara patrol as they entered the system. The alien ship moved in a predictable pattern. Its crew was lazy and overconfident. Maya calculated firing angles while Carlos prepared a mine. The patrol ship never knew what hit it. The Wolverine landed on Tertius using the planet's magnetic field to hide their approach. The world was covered in different hunting environments. Arctic zones, bordered tropical jungles. Desert regions sat next to ocean areas. Each zone was designed to challenge different types of prey. Webb's team moved through the jungle zone toward the prisoner compound. They encountered their first Cathara hunting party near a river. 3 aliens were tracking something through the underbrush. They carried energy weapons and wore advanced armor, but they moved like predators who had never been hunted. Carlos placed charges along their path while Maya found a sniper position. When the Cathara triggered the explosives, Maya picked off the survivors. The aliens died before they could send a warning. Webb realized that despite their technology, the Cathara were vulnerable to human tactics. The prisoner compound sat in the center of the hunting preserve. Massive walls surrounded barracks filled with captured beings. Guard towers provided overlooks for Cathara observers. But the defenses were designed to keep prisoners in, not attackers. Ryan's intelligence proved accurate. The compound held humans from 12 different colonies, but there were also aliens from 6 other species. The Cathara had been hunting across the galaxy for longer than anyone realized. Some prisoners had been here for years. Dr. Elena Vasquez approached Webb when he entered the main barracks. She had been studying the Cathara during her captivity. Her knowledge would prove valuable for future operations. She explained that the aliens were psychologically dependent on hunting. Their entire culture revolved around being apex predators. Webb learned that the Cathara divided prey into categories based on intelligence and fighting ability. Humans rated high in both areas, which made them valuable targets. But this also meant the aliens underestimated human potential. They expected their prey to run and hide, not fight back. The rescue operation began at dawn. Carlos destroyed the guard towers, while Maya eliminated sentries. Webb led the prisoners toward the landing zone, while Ryan coordinated with the Wolverine. The Cathara response was slower than expected. They seemed confused by organized resistance as they fled through the jungle. Webb's team encountered a full Cathara hunting party. 20 aliens armed with advanced weapons blocked their path. These were not simple guards, but experienced hunters. Webb ordered the prisoners to take cover while his team engaged. The battle was fierce, but brief. Human tactics proved superior to Cathara overconfidence. Maya's precise shooting eliminated key targets. Carlos used the environment to funnel aliens into kill zones. Ryan coordinated the team's movements like a pack of wolves. When the smoke cleared, 15 Cathara lay dead. The survivors fled in panic. Webb realized something important. The aliens had never faced organized resistance. They were skilled at hunting individuals or small groups, but could not handle coordinated military action. The Wolverine lifted off with all 400 human prisoners plus 60 aliens from other species. As they escaped, Webb transmitted a message on all Cathara frequencies. He identified himself and his species. He announced that humans had declared war on the hunters. Dr. Vasquez shared crucial intelligence during the flight home. The Cathara Society had 3 levels: hunters who conducted the actual hunts, hunt masters who organized the preserves, and the High Council who governed their civilization. All 3 levels were built around the concept of predator and prey. She explained that becoming prey themselves would be psychologically devastating to the Cathara. Their entire worldview depended on being superior to other species. If humans could turn the tables, the aliens might not be able to cope. The rescued aliens spread word of the rescue throughout the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, prey species had fought back successfully. The news reached the Zenthari Republic and the Altarian Collective. Other civilizations began to hope that the age of Cathara terror might end. Admiral Brooks welcomed the returning heroes with a promotion for Webb. But more importantly, she had authorization to expand the hunter-killer program. Earth would build a fleet of stealth ships crewed by the best soldiers humanity could produce. Webb met with Jake Morrison, who had been promoted to captain after his report. They studied the intelligence gathered from Tertius. The Cathara had dozens of hunting worlds scattered across the galaxy. Each one held thousands of prisoners from various species. The 2 officers began planning humanity's next move. If the Cathara wanted to hunt humans, then humans would hunt them back. But this would not be random violence. Earth would free every prisoner and destroy every hunting preserve. The galaxy would learn that humanity protected its own. Dr. Vasquez established a research program to study Cathara psychology and technology. The intelligence she gathered would guide future operations. Her work revealed that the aliens were not as advanced as they appeared. Much of their technology was stolen from prey species. As news of the rescue spread, human colonies reported increased Cathara activity. The aliens were angry and frightened. They had never faced effective resistance before. Their response was to hunt more aggressively and take more prisoners. But Webb's success had proven something important. The Cathara could be beaten. Their technology was superior, but their tactics were predictable. Most importantly, their psychology was fragile. They could not handle being hunted themselves. Admiral Brooks addressed the Defense Council with new confidence. Project Retribution was working. Earth would expand the program and begin training more hunter-killer teams. The Cathara had made a critical mistake. They had awakened something dangerous in humanity. The prey was learning to hunt back. Ambassador Kate Sullivan stepped into the Zenthari Council chamber feeling the weight of history. Word of humanity's rescue mission had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The Zenthari Republic was the first major civilization to respond. They wanted to meet the species that had successfully fought the Cathara. The Zenthari looked like tall, blue-skinned humanoids with 4 arms. They had been one of the Cathara's favorite prey species for over 1,000 years. Millions of Zenthari had been taken to the hunting preserves. Their homeworld still bore scars from Cathara raids. Chancellor Vexka spoke for the Zenthari government. He explained that they had tried to fight the Cathara many times. Their fleets were destroyed and their people captured. Eventually they had given up and accepted their role as prey. But humanity's success had given them new hope. Kate listened as the Chancellor described Cathara tactics. The aliens always struck remote settlements first. They studied their prey before launching major raids. They preferred to capture rather than kill because living prey provided better sport. This knowledge would help Earth plan future operations. Zenthari offered humanity their most advanced technology. Their shield generators could protect ships from Cathara energy weapons. Their medical systems could heal wounds that would normally be fatal. Most importantly, they shared star charts showing the locations of hunting worlds. Within days of the Zenthari meeting, other species sent diplomatic missions to Earth. The Altarian collective arrived with quantum communication devices. The crystalline Vorthak brought nearly indestructible armor materials. The insectoid Nephili shared their swarm-fighting tactics. Dr. Amy Parker worked with alien scientists to adapt their technologies for human use. She discovered that each species had developed defenses against specific Cathara hunting methods. Combined, together these technologies could give the Alliance a significant advantage. General Paul Anderson studied the tactical information provided by the aliens. He realized that human military doctrine needed to change. Large fleets and major battles were not effective against the Cathara. The aliens avoided fair fights and preferred to hunt isolated targets. Anderson proposed a new strategy based on pack hunting. Small teams would track down Cathara hunting parties. They would use stealth and coordination to eliminate their targets. The goal was not to conquer territory, but to hunt the hunters themselves. Lieutenant Commander Beth Hayes volunteered to lead the first mixed-species hunter team. Her squad included Zenthari shield specialist Crix 9 and Altarian tracker Milani, Tau 7. The team trained together for months, learning to work as a unit. Their first target was the hunting preserve on Xerion Prime. Intelligence suggested it held over 1,000 prisoners from 20 different species. The preserve was heavily guarded, but Anderson believed a small team could succeed where a large fleet would fail. Beth's team approached Xerion Prime using a captured Cathara scout ship. The vessel's identification codes were still valid. Cathara security allowed them to land without challenge. The aliens never suspected that their prey would use such tactics. Xerion Prime was designed as a challenge preserve. Different zones tested, various hunting skills. Mountain regions for tracking, ocean areas for aquatic hunts, underground tunnel systems for close combat. Each zone held different types of prey. The team split up to cover more ground. Beth and Crix 9 headed for the mountain zone while Milani infiltrated the control center. Their goal was to free prisoners while eliminating as many Cathara as possible. They wanted to send a message that would spread across the galaxy. Beth encountered her first Cathara hunting party in a mountain pass. 5 aliens were tracking a group of escaped prisoners. They moved with the confidence of apex predators, but they had never been hunted by a coordinated team using advanced tactics. Crix 9's shields protected them from Cathara energy weapons, while Beth used human infantry tactics. She flanked the aliens while they focused on the Zenthari. Her assault rifle cut down 3 hunters before they realized the threat. The survivors fled in panic. Meanwhile, Melanie reached the control center and began downloading prisoner locations. The Altarian's quantum skills allowed her to hack Kythera computer systems. She discovered that Xerion Prime was just one of 50 active hunting worlds. The scope of Kythera operations was staggering, as Beth's team freed prisoners they recruited. Volunteers to help with the mission. Many of the captives had been warriors before their capture. They wanted revenge against their captors. Soon, Beth commanded a force of over 100 fighters from multiple species. The battle for Xerion Prime lasted 3 days. The Alliance forces used guerrilla tactics learned from human history. They struck fast and disappeared before the Kythera could respond. Supply depots were destroyed. Communication arrays were sabotaged. Guard posts were eliminated. On the final day, Beth led a coordinated assault on the main Kythera compound. Her mixed-species force attacked from multiple directions. Zenthari shields protected the advance while Vorthak armor absorbed enemy fire. Nephili swarm tactics overwhelmed Kythera positions. The compound fell after 6 hours of fighting. Over. 300 Kythera were killed, including 2 hunt masters. Not a single alien escaped to report what had happened. The Alliance controlled the entire preserve, but Beth was not finished. She ordered her force to hunt down every remaining Kythera on the planet. They systematically searched every hunting zone. Any alien they found was killed or captured. By the end of the week, Xerion Prime was completely under Alliance control. The freed prisoners helped establish a message for the Kythera High Council. Using the aliens' own communication systems, they broadcast across the galaxy. The message was simple, but devastating. The prey remembered. The prey adapted. The prey hunted back news of Xerion Prime's liberation spread through both Alliance and Kythera space. For the first time in their history, the Kythera had lost an entire hunting world. Worse, their prey had turned the tables and become hunters. The psychological impact was enormous. Other hunting worlds reported increased prisoner escape attempts. Some Kythera hunting parties failed to return from routine missions. Fear began to spread through alien society. They were experiencing something they had never known before. They were becoming prey. Admiral Brooks authorized the expansion of mixed-species hunter teams. Earth would build special ships designed for small unit operations. Each team would include the best fighters from multiple species. They would be equipped with the finest technology the Alliance could provide. General Anderson established training centers on Earth and allied worlds. Human soldiers learned alien technologies while alien warriors studied human tactics. The combination created something new. A force designed specifically to hunt the Kythera. Ambassador Sullivan continued diplomatic missions throughout the galaxy. Every week, new species joined the Alliance. Some brought technology, others offered intelligence about Kythera operations. All shared the same goal: end the reign of terror that had lasted for millennia. Dr. Parker's research revealed crucial information about Kythera psychology. The aliens were completely dependent on their role as apex predators. Their society, religion, and individual identity were all based on hunting other species. Being hunted themselves created massive psychological trauma. The Alliance began to plan larger operations. Xerion Prime had proven that the Kythera could be beaten, but one hunting world was not enough. There were dozens more scattered across the galaxy. Each one held thousands of prisoners. Each one needed to be liberated. Beth Hayes was promoted to commander and given authority over all hunter teams. Her success on Xerion Prime had made her a legend among Alliance forces. She began planning coordinated strikes against multiple hunting worlds. The pack was growing stronger. Huntmaster Thraxhai stood before the Kythera High Council trembling with rage and fear. The loss of Xerion Prime had shaken their civilization to its core. For 50,000 years, the Kythera had been the galaxy's apex predators. Now their prey was hunting them back. The council chamber was filled with the greatest hunters in Kythera history, ancient beings who had stalked prey across hundreds of worlds. They had never experienced defeat until the humans and their allies appeared. The psychological damage was visible in their hollow eyes and shaking hands. Elder Vexcry spoke for the council. He was the oldest living Kythera and had witnessed their rise to galactic dominance. The concept of being prey was so foreign to him that he could barely process what was happening. His voice cracked as he addressed the assembly. The reports from hunting worlds were getting worse each day. Human-led teams were systematically attacking Kythera operations. They used captured alien technology combined with brutal human tactics. Most disturbing was their psychological warfare. They left messages calling the Kythera prey Thraxhai had lost 3 hunting parties in the past month. Each one had simply vanished while conducting routine hunts. When search teams found the bodies, they discovered evidence of coordinated attacks. The humans fought like pack predators, surrounding and destroying isolated targets. Captain Nicole Baker commanded the UES Predator as it stalked a Kythera heavy cruiser through the Vega system. Her ship was specifically designed for hunting alien vessels. Advanced stealth systems made it nearly invisible, while powerful weapons could destroy much larger targets. The Kythera ship was returning from a raid on a human colony. Its cargo holds contained over 200 prisoners. Nicole's orders were simple: rescue the humans and eliminate the alien crew. The Predator had been hunting this particular ship for 3 weeks. Nicole's crew had perfected the art of turning Kythera tactics against them. They used stealth and misdirection just like the aliens did. But humans added elements that the Kythera never expected: coordination sacrifice and an absolute refusal to give up. The attack began when the Kythera ship entered an asteroid field. Nicole used the rocks for cover while her crew prepared for combat. The alien vessel was larger and more heavily armed, but it was designed for hunting defenseless prey, not fighting determined opponents. Lieutenant Carlos Silva managed the ship's weapons while Dr. Maya Johnson coordinated the rescue operation. They had worked together for months, learning each other's capabilities. The crew functioned like a pack, with each member supporting the others. The Predator struck without warning. Precise shots disabled the Kythera ship's engines and weapons. The aliens tried to flee but found themselves trapped in the asteroid field. For the first time in their lives, they experienced what it felt like to be hunted. Nicole opened communications with the alien ship. She identified herself and her species. She told the Kythera captain that his ship and crew were now prey. The psychological impact was devastating. The alien captain began broadcasting panic signals to his superiors. The boarding action was swift and brutal. Human Marines stormed through the ship while Kythera crew members fled in terror. The aliens had never faced an enemy that fought with such coordinated ferocity. Their superior technology meant nothing against human determination within. An hour, the Kythera ship was secured. All alien crew members were dead or captured. The human prisoners were freed and given medical treatment. Most importantly, the ship's computer was downloaded for intelligence purposes. Every piece of data would help future operations. Admiral Jake Morrison studied fleet deployment reports from his flagship, the UES Alpha Wolf. He had been promoted after his early warning about the Kythera threat. Now he commanded a battle group of 200 human and allied vessels. Their target was the largest Kythera fleet ever assembled. The Battle of Scorpion Nebula would determine the future of the war. Thraxhai had gathered over 500 Kythera ships for a massive counterattack. The aliens intended to destroy the Alliance fleet and reassert their dominance, but Morrison had other plans. The Alliance fleet used pack tactics on a massive scale. Smaller ships worked together to isolate and destroy larger Kythera vessels. Zenthari shields protected the advance, while Vorthak armor absorbed enemy fire. Nephili swarm attacks overwhelmed alien defenses. Morrison commanded from the center of the formation, coordinating his fleet like a wolf pack. Each ship group had a specific role in the larger battle plan. They struck hard and fast, then disappeared before the Cathara could respond effectively. The battle raged for 12 hours across the entire nebula. Cathara ships were superior individually, but the Alliance fleet fought as a coordinated unit. Every time the aliens tried to concentrate their forces, another Alliance group would attack their flanks. The turning point came when Morrison identified the Cathara flagship Apex Predator. The massive dreadnought commanded the alien fleet from the nebula's center. Morrison ordered his battle group to hunt it down like a pack pursuing wounded prey. The Alpha Wolf stalked through the nebula using sensor shadows and debris fields for cover. Morrison's crew prepared for the most important battle of their lives. If they could destroy the enemy flagship, the entire Cathara fleet would collapse. The final confrontation was broadcast across the galaxy. Morrison faced the Apex Predator in single combat while their fleets battled around them. The human ship was smaller and less heavily armed, but it was crewed by fighters who refused to surrender. Morrison opened communications on all frequencies as his ship closed for the killing blow. His words echoed across space, reaching every world in the galaxy. "This is humanity. We were your prey. Now you are ours." The Apex Predator exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Its destruction sent shockwaves through the Cathara fleet. Alien ships began to flee in panic as their command structure collapsed. The Alliance fleet pursued them like predators chasing scattered prey on Cathara worlds throughout the galaxy. The population watched their fleet's destruction with growing horror. For the first time in their history, they experienced genuine fear. The prey had become predators, and their entire world view was crumbling. Young Cathara, who had never known anything but supremacy, began questioning their culture's foundation. Some elder Cathara suffered complete psychological breakdowns. They simply could not cope with the reversal of natural order. The hunters had become the hunted. Thraxhai survived the battle, but his mind was shattered. He returned to the High Council, a broken being. His report spoke of human savagery and alien coordination. Worst of all, he described the look in human eyes when they fought. It was the look of apex predators. The Council faced a crisis that threatened their entire civilization. Their hunting fleets were being destroyed. Their prey was hunting them. Their culture was based on being superior to other species, but that superiority was proving to be an illusion. Elder Vex Cry made a desperate decision. If the Cathara could not maintain their supremacy through traditional hunting, they would eliminate their tormentors entirely. He authorized the use of their ultimate weapons. Planet-killer vessels called extinction claws. The massive ships had been built in secret over thousands of years. They were designed to eliminate entire worlds that produced troublesome prey. Now they would be used against Earth itself. The human homeworld would become an example that would terrify the galaxy. Back into submission. Commander Alex Turner watched the sensor displays from Earth's orbital defense station as the largest alien fleet in recorded history approached the solar system. Intelligence reports had warned them about the extinction clause, but seeing the massive ships in person was terrifying. Each vessel was over 50 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. Admiral Lisa Chen coordinated the defense from her flagship orbiting Mars. She had been promoted after her service, with Jake Morrison during the first contact with the Cathara. Now she commanded the combined fleets of 40 different species. But even with their greatest allies, the defenders were badly outnumbered. The Cathara fleet filled space from Jupiter to the asteroid belt. Over 3,000 ships of various sizes supported the 12 extinction claws. Huntmaster Thraxhai led them aboard his personal dreadnought. He intended to make Earth's destruction a grand spectacle that would restore Cathara prestige. Turner had spent months preparing Earth's defenses for this moment. Every military installation on the planet was armed and ready. Civilian populations had been evacuated to underground shelters. If the Cathara wanted to make Earth the ultimate hunting ground, then humanity would turn their home world into the ultimate trap. The battle began at the edge of the solar system when Cathara scouts encountered the outer defense perimeter. Zenthari ships provided the first line of resistance using their advanced shield technology, but the alien fleet was too large to stop with conventional tactics. Admiral Chen ordered her forces to fall back toward Earth while conducting fighting retreats. Each defensive line was designed to delay the Cathara advance and gather intelligence about their weapons. The extinction clause remained at the center of the alien formation, protected by thousands of escort vessels as the fleets moved deeper into the solar system. The battle spread across multiple planets. Cathara hunting parties actually landed on Mars and began establishing temporary hunting grounds. For the first time, alien boots walked on soil in humanity's home system. Dr. Amy Parker worked frantically in her laboratory, studying captured Cathara technology while explosions shook the building around her. She had been analyzing Extinction Claw, weapon systems for months trying to find a weakness. The massive ships seemed invulnerable to conventional attacks. The breakthrough came when Parker discovered a critical flaw in the Planet Killer design. The Extinction Claws required a massive energy buildup before firing. During the charging sequence, their defensive systems had to be temporarily shut down. They were vulnerable for exactly 37 seconds. Turner coordinated with Chen to exploit this weakness. They would need to time their attack perfectly while the Extinction Claws were charging, but getting close enough to attack would require incredible sacrifice. The escort fleet would destroy any ship that approached the Planet Killer's Jake Morrison, volunteered to lead the Suicide Squadron. His ship, the Alpha Wolf, had been damaged in previous battles, but was still capable of combat. He gathered volunteer pilots from every allied species for what everyone knew was a one-way mission. The final battle took place in Earth's orbit, with the planet itself serving as the backdrop. Cathara hunting parties had landed on the surface and were conducting hunts in major cities. Human civilians fought back with whatever weapons they could find. The entire world had become a battlefield. Chen's fleet engaged the main Cathara force near the moon, while Morrison's squadron prepared for their desperate attack. The Extinction Claws began their charging sequence targeting Earth's major population centers. Massive energy beams began building power for the killing shots. Morrison broadcast a final message to his family and friends as his squadron approached the Planet Killers. He told them that humanity would survive no matter what happened. The galaxy had learned that humans would fight to the end to protect their own. The suicide attack began just as the Extinction Claws reached maximum charge. Morrison led 40 ships directly into the energy beams, knowing that contact meant instant death. But their sacrifice created massive feedback loops in the weapon systems. The chain reaction that followed exceeded Parker's calculations. The primary Extinction Claw exploded with the force of a small star. The blast destroyed 6 other planet killers and damaged the rest beyond repair. Half the Cathara fleet was vaporized in seconds. Thrax High watched in horror as his ultimate weapons destroyed themselves. The sight of humans willingly flying into certain death to protect their homeworld shattered his remaining sanity. He had never encountered such absolute determination in any prey species. The surviving Cathara fleet began to retreat in chaos as their command structure collapsed. Many ships fled toward the edge of the system, while others simply shut down their systems. The psychological impact of seeing their ultimate weapons fail was too much for alien crews to handle. Chen's fleet pursued the fleeing aliens like wolves chasing scattered deer. The tables had completely turned, with the Cathara now playing the role of prey. Their technological superiority meant nothing against the combined determination of 40 allied species. On Earth's surface, the landing forces found themselves cut off and surrounded. Human civilians and military units worked together to hunt down every alien invader. The Cathara, who had come to hunt, found themselves being hunted through the streets of human cities. Turner coordinated the ground operations, while Chen managed the space battle. They were determined to eliminate every Cathara in the solar system. The aliens had made a critical mistake by attacking humanity's homeworld. Now they would pay the ultimate price. The battle lasted for 3 days as Alliance. Forces systematically hunted down scattered Cathara survivors. Some aliens tried to surrender, but found no mercy from their former prey. The psychological roles had reversed completely, with humans now serving as apex predators. Morrison survived his suicide run badly injured, but alive. His ship had been caught in the edge of the explosion and thrown clear of the blast zone. Rescue. Teams found him unconscious but breathing. He would bear scars from the battle for the rest of his life. Thrax-High's dreadnought was one of the few Cathara ships to escape the solar system, but the Huntmaster himself was broken beyond repair. He spent the journey babbling about human savagery and the failure of Cathara superiority. His crew could barely function. The destruction of the extinction clause sent shockwaves throughout Cathara space. Their ultimate weapons had been defeated by the willingness of prey species to sacrifice themselves. The psychological foundation of their civilization crumbled in a matter of hours. Elder Vexacry received the news of the fleet's destruction with complete disbelief. The concept that prey could defeat their ultimate hunters was so foreign that many Cathara simply could not accept reality. Some suffered complete mental breakdowns, while others retreated into catatonic states. The Battle of Earth marked the end of Cathara dominance in the galaxy. Their fleets scattered and their leadership collapsed. For the first time in 50,000 years, they were no longer apex predators. They had become prey themselves, and they could not cope with the reversal news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light. Oppressed species throughout known space began to rise up against their Cathara oppressors. The age of the Great Hunt was ending, and the age of the Great Reckoning was about to begin. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new flagship surveying the ruins of a Cathara hunting world. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth, and the alien civilization was collapsing everywhere. Some Cathara clans still tried to continue hunting, but they were systematically tracked down by human-led teams. The scars from Morrison's suicide run were visible on his face and hands. The explosion had nearly killed him, but he had survived to see humanity's complete victory over their former hunters. Now he led the final hunt, tracking down the last unrepentant Cathara across the galaxy. Most alien hunting worlds had been abandoned as their civilizations fell apart. The psychological trauma of being hunted had broken the Cathara spirit. Thousands of aliens had simply stopped functioning when their worldview collapsed. They could not adapt to being prey instead of predators, Commander Beth Hayes reported from the surface of the dead world below. Her teams had found evidence of recent Cathara activity, but the aliens had fled before the humans arrived. Intelligence suggested they were heading for the galaxy's outer rim, where they hoped to hide. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked with reformed Cathara in rehabilitation centers across Alliance space. The aliens who had abandoned hunting were slowly learning to contribute to galactic society. Some even joined human exploration teams, using their knowledge to discover new worlds instead of hunting their inhabitants. The work was difficult because the Cathara psychology was completely built around predation. Without hunting, they had no sense of purpose or identity. Vasquez had to help them develop entirely new ways of thinking about themselves and their place in the universe. But not all Cathara were willing to change. The most fanatical hunters had retreated to hidden bases where they plotted revenge against their former prey. These holdouts refused to accept that the age of hunting was over. They represented the greatest remaining threat to galactic peace. Morrison's target was Huntmaster Vexacry, the last of the unrepentant alien leaders. Intelligence reports placed him on a barren world at the galaxy's edge. The ancient Cathara had gathered the most fanatic hunters for one final attempt to restore their dominance. The UES Apex Hunter approached the target world using advanced stealth systems. Morrison's crew included veterans from every major battle of the war. They had become the galaxy's most effective hunters, specializing in tracking down dangerous Cathara survivors. Captain Nicole Baker served as Morrison's second-in-command, while Colonel Marcus Webb led the ground forces. Dr. Amy Parker provided scientific support using her expertise in Cathera technology. The team represented humanity's evolution from prey to apex predator. The dead world showed signs of recent construction. Vexacry had built a fortress using stolen technology from dozens of species, but the defenses were designed to keep attackers out, not to hide from hunters. The Cathera still thought like prey even when trying to fight Morrison's assault began, with precision strikes against the fortress's power systems. Webb's Marines used captured Cathera equipment combined with human tactics. They moved like a pack surrounding their target and cutting off escape routes. The battle was personal for Morrison. Vexacry had been responsible for the deaths of thousands of humans. The ancient alien had orchestrated some of the most brutal hunts in Cathera history. This would be justice for all the innocent people who had died as prey. The final confrontation took place in the fortress's central chamber. Vexacry waited alone, surrounded by trophies from his hunting career. Skulls and artifacts from hundreds of species decorated the walls. Each one represented a life taken for sport. The old Cathera was still dangerous despite his age. His reflexes were enhanced by technology, and his weapons were among the finest ever created. But Morrison had advantages that no prey species had ever possessed. He fought with purpose, determination, and the backing of 40 allied civilizations. The duel lasted only minutes, but it represented the end of an era. Morrison defeated Vexacry not through superior technology, but through the adaptability and persistence that defined humanity. The last Huntmaster died knowing that his species' age of dominance was truly over. With Vexacry's death, the final Cathera resistance collapsed. The scattered hunters surrendered or fled to unknown regions of space. For the first time in 50,000 years, the galaxy was free from their terror. The age of predators and prey had ended. Morrison returned to Earth as a hero, but he took no pleasure in the victory. Too many good people had died during the war. The memorial walls in every human city bore the names of those who had been taken as prey. Their sacrifice would never be forgotten. The Galactic Protection Covenant was established with Earth as its headquarters. Representatives from hundreds of species worked together to ensure that no civilization would ever again face the horror of being hunted for sport. Humanity had become the galaxy's protectors. The old hunting preserves were converted into memorial parks honoring the victims of Cathera predation. Each world became a reminder of what happened when one species believed itself superior to all others. Children from across the galaxy would visit these places to learn about the importance of cooperation. Dr. Vasquez's rehabilitation programs expanded to help other traumatized species recover from their experiences as prey. The psychological damage caused by the Cathera would take generations to heal. But the work was essential for building a better galactic civilization. Admiral Lisa Chen established new exploration protocols designed to prevent future conflicts. When humanity encountered new species, they would approach with respect and caution. The galaxy had learned that advanced technology without wisdom led to terrible consequences. Morrison was promoted to Fleet Admiral and given command of the new Galactic Defense Force. Ships from dozens of species served under human leadership because other civilizations trusted humanity to use power responsibly. The former prey had become worthy guardians, but perhaps the greatest victory was psychological. Across the galaxy, children grew up knowing that monsters could be defeated. The Cathera had seemed invincible for thousands of years, but humanity had proven that determination and cooperation could overcome any threat. The memorial on Earth bore a simple inscription written in the languages of every Alliance species. It read that the age of predators and prey was over, because all species had learned what it meant to be hunted. Unity had triumphed over supremacy. On frontier worlds throughout the galaxy, human families raised their children with new confidence. When a small girl on a distant colony asked her mother if there were monsters in space, her mother smiled and gave the perfect answer. Once there were monsters, she said. But we taught them that humanity protects its own. And now we protect everyone else, too. The stars belong to all species equally because humanity had chosen to be guardians rather than conquerors. The Kythera survivors who had embraced rehabilitation slowly found new purposes in life. Some became researchers, studying their own former victims to understand the damage they had caused. Others joined exploration missions, discovering new worlds that would never know the terror of being hunted. Morrison retired to a quiet farm on Earth, but remained available for consultation. He had become a symbol of humanity's transformation from prey to protector. Young officers studied his tactics, while diplomats learned from his example of showing mercy to defeated enemies. The galaxy had learned the most important lesson in its history. True strength came not from being the apex predator, but from protecting those who could not protect themselves. Humanity had proven that the greatest hunters were those who chose to hunt only monsters and in the depths of space on worlds yet undiscovered. New civilizations would someday learn that they lived in a galaxy where monsters could be defeated, where prey could become predators when necessary, where humanity stood guard to ensure that the age of hunting sentient beings would never return.